Hey everybody, welcome to this video. I will be reviewing Samuel L. Jackson's MasterClass course at masterclass.com. I just finished this course and I will have to say that this is probably one of the most enjoyable, comprehensive, and engaging courses I've had on the website. And I've already gone through several different courses and finished them, and then there's about a dozen others that I'm halfway through. So this is very exciting stuff, and what I'm going to be covering today is, um, pros and cons to this type of course versus other types of courses, celebrity versus non-celebrity. And then I'm going to dive into some of these modules to just give you an insider sense of what you might expect and what type of topics he will cover in each of these modules now that I've completed the course, because there's some very interesting, insightful stuff that you're going to get from an industry expert that you won't get anywhere else. Certain things that I would have never thought to think about, and certain topics that I wouldn't have thought to study, but are very critical if you ever want to be an actor. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why do you want to take this course? You want to be an actor now? Not necessarily. I mean, it wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't mind being an actor. In fact, if I'm ever in New York or LA, I wouldn't mind, hopping into a few auditions. It sounds like a lot of fun to me. Uh, However, I think I've been taking a lot of different courses of different topics just to kind of stretch my skill set. And I have different reasons for taking different courses. Interior design, I never thought I'd be taking that course on here, but I did because it just really helps me with my whole organization and aesthetic, and my skill set with my house and my room, because I realized how messy it was. And I've since started taking cooking courses for different reasons too, and now I'm taking Samuel Jackson's course because I think there's certain elements to success that I can learn from him that I can incorporate to other areas of my life. I think there's certain just the prestige and reputation that he has. He's so recognizable. He's an iconic actor that there's certain things that you can learn directly from him that uh, you can't get elsewhere. It's almost priceless information, or at least very expensive. Like, you're not going to bump into this guy on the street and have him do a masterclass for you. And speaking of, the deal is such a bargain. Let me put it to you this way. While taking this class, I went on to meetup.com, and I went to Los Angeles and New York, the two hotspots for acting, just to get a sense for like what type of groups are meeting. And in New York, they're charging $1,000 to $8,000 for certain directing and acting classes, just to be a part of a 4-week workshop. And you're getting this course if you buy the lifetime, or not the lifetime, the 1-year membership. You're getting all these courses, not just his course, but all of them for $100, about $180 total. Plus, you get one free gift pass to give to a friend of yours, so that they can also get that for free. Or you could just buy this course on its own for $40. I mean, think of that. Think of the difference there. Um, so, you're getting this industry expert, or you're going to gain this kind of no-name, unrecognizable acting coach teacher in New York for 10 times the price. And in terms of why I'm so excited to review this class, because I think it's one of my favorites. It's one of my most fun, most interesting classes. And let's start scrolling through so I can tell you why. They all start with an intro that kind of just breaks down, his credibility, some of the scenes he's been into, and it's just like a little video intro where he just kind of gets you started for the master class. And I mean, it's Sam L. Jackson. He's been in so many movies: Avengers, Pulp Fiction, Die Hard. It just kicks off with a bang. You're excited, and his personality really shows in this class. Just based on my personality, you could tell he was having fun, and that made me have fun and engage. And I knew who he was, which made it just so much more exciting to learn from him. Now, as he dives into these modules, it gets incredibly exciting here. So, along with these video modules, they're all video modules. You also get these workbook. It's about a page PDF that you can download, and it's pretty comprehensive. The masterclass team designs it for you. But there's all sorts of stuff here. There's the bio about him, and then it goes into notes sections. It kind of summarizes some of his points because he really goes into detail about some of these things, and then it adds on like some extra stuff. It has like assignments that you can take on for each of these modules, like little basic action steps from all these things that he touches on. And I don't know if they draw these out from what he says in the actual course, or they worked with Sam himself to come up with these later on. But this is something that I could print out, I could go through, I could reference whenever I need. Let's say my MasterClass membership expires. I get these cool pictures. Look how well produced it is. They filmed the whole thing in the studio, and then they took some still images as well. And it's just very well produced, well designed, very clean. I mean, I'm sure this could be a little bit better, but that's just my design mind talking. It's a little too clean and too. I would have made the font a little bit different, but still, it's so well done. And I can save this for when my membership expires to reference if I forget anything. I'm even thinking about just renewing my membership so that, like, if I ever want to come back to one of these things, I can jump to it. So why did I like this class so much? Why was it so amazing to me? Well, first off, he has these student sessions. What they did was they had about 5 actors come in of different genders and ethnicities, and they did these student sessions where he coached them through, and you got to see how they interacted and bounced off feedback from him. And they did different acting styles, acting techniques, and each module he kind of focuses on something new. And then even towards the end here, they kind of edit the videos in a way where first you see him talking to the camera for a while, and then it jumps to him doing a specific feedback session with the students. So it's very relevant, and it kind of jumps through these sometimes towards the end. In the middle, it's just like full-on session with the students with certain cuts to the most important parts. The videos vary from about 7 minutes in length to about 20 minutes in length, depending on which video you watch. And why I like this format so well, let me click into one of them so you get the sense. I like this format so well because most of the, every course creator on MasterClass has its own style, and some of them it's just talking head every single video, like R.L. Stein's. And that worked for him, because he had a lot of info to give, and that was just the best way of doing it. But that can get boring, he's just talking straight to you for 20 or 10 minutes every video. But this one, for some reason, maybe it was just how much personality Sam had, and maybe it was the fact that they bounced between the student sessions, but it was just so well done. In addition to that, they have markers in these videos that I didn't notice in any other videos. Basically, I'm going to click to one so you can get a sense for what I mean. By the way, what's on this website is these markers will display different sub-chapters in the video. So I'm going to pause it real quick, and then I'm going to hide this little thing that pops up when you pause it by clicking this button. And then if you hover over these gray bars, it'll kind of give you these sub-chapters to the videos. And I found this very useful because I could organize in my mind what he was saying. They're also kind of previewed with this like title card here. So it starts off with the module's title, his journey from New York to Hollywood. Then it goes into finding a nurturing environment, his first Hollywood disappointment, getting sober, playing Gator in Jungle Fever, which was the Spike Lee movie, and then his artistic and box office success. And so certain, it just kind of well paces the settings well, the pace of the video well, and I could jump back and see what's going on. As far as the actual video, it's done in this beautiful studio of some sort. Maybe it's his house. I'm guessing it's a studio because of how organized and clean it is, and those shelves of white books. But it's slightly moving here, and just the aesthetic, the high production value of it, it's just really good. Like it keeps you engaged. like noticed how the camera is kind of moving while he's talking. That was pretty neat. Like you don't see that on a YouTube video. So I don't know. It was just something so clean and elegant and like kind of like high end about it. It's like I am purchasing champagne. I'm not purchasing some crappy beer here when I get this course. Um, on top of that, you know, the lessons I've learned from this course are out of this world. Um, I would say almost this is here's another thing. Um, many of the sorry, let me pause this. Many of the courses on MasterClass, like they're kind of short. Some are long, and this one's on the longer side, and I love that. You know, because you know when you no disrespect, but with Christina Aguilera's course or you know some of the other big names, Bob Iger's course, they're really busy. They're so successful, and therefore they're very busy, and so you only get like 6 lessons, 10 minutes each, or 8 lessons, 10 minutes each, 15 minutes each. And while that is good to an extent, it's not really what I would expect from a full A to Z course. Now, I don't know how Sam Jackson did it, but Samuel, he was able to put a full-blown course out. And it seemed like he did it in one day of filming, but he put actual effort into it. I mean, let me just count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. About almost 20 lessons. And he must have done this over a couple of days because then he had a like student session as well. And it's comprehensive. It covers all these different angles of acting and it really goes into depth. He really wanted to make this a good course. And so I really appreciated that. You know, I love Bob Iger's course as well because he still gave a lot of good detail. And I saw things from a different angle from his biography, which I also read. But it's different. I wouldn't call that a full course. I would call it like a mini course at best. So, you know, each author on MasterClass has its own special style. I know with Timbaland's courses and Dead Mouse's, some of their lessons are like 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long, because they will break down the entire songwriting process in certain elements. Well, not the whole process, but more so the theory side or the artistic side. But you know that's a different thing. And for me, I just like Sam's course the best because it's bite-sized pieces. So if you're looking to just buy one course for yourself or a friend, this may be the course for you if you prefer like these bite-sized things and you're really into acting. Now, furthermore, let's just give you a little preview into what the studio session is. I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm just going to give you a tiny teaser. But you know, you basically have Sam come out, and then they do a scene, and then you know sometimes he starts off by saying, you know, this is what I want you to do. You know, I want you to focus on having a quirky character, or I want you to focus on the emotional aspect, and this is how you want to present it. And then they do the scene, and then he gives feedback, and it's very
I know,
wise
baby.
teacher.
I know, baby. We're almost through. I'm so proud of you, Ringo. You're so proud.
These are the four of the 5 student actors. There's Samuel in the background.
Which one is it?
It's the one that says "bad motherfucker" on it.
They're doing a Pulp Fiction scene. And then once
Why? What would you do different if you did it again?
he's very wise and slow-paced and understanding and patient with his teaching style.
Because you weren't relaxed at all.
Yeah, initially.
You had that energy of I'm trying to get through it.
Okay, so that's good enough for now. You know, there's a comment section below, and you can rate the lesson as well. And then they have top-rated lessons here if you want to click to them and just jump to it. I mean, I love these a lot so much that I gave almost all of them 5-star. And sometimes I'm pretty critical. Sometimes I've given 3 or 4 stars in other courses. So I'm not that guy who's always giving 5 stars, but I did in this course. Now, you probably really want to know, just like, okay, what's it like? Like, what these courses are like? Like, what can you expect to cover? And so let me just end this video by giving you a few points of explanation with each of these modules. And if you would like to purchase MasterClass, I'm going to leave an affiliate link in the description. Basically, if you purchase through my link, I'll get a commission at no extra cost to you. And this is one of the only things I promote because I am very picky about what I believe in and promote for the betterment of my community. And I think this is hands down the best thing. Like, if you want an acting coach or acting session, this beats a lot of other things you could find in the world. Now, I'm going to start from the end backwards and just give you a little sprinkle of what I learned from many of these modules, just to give you a sense of like what to expect. Now, we did the New York to Hollywood one. And the conclusion simply just kind of wraps things up. And he tells you to take action from what you learn, you know. So I'm going to start with the Hollywood lessons. You know, he talks a lot about specific aspects of dealing with directors, dealing with auditioning, dealing with you know, your personal life while going through these things. And so, you know, there's certain things that you would never expect that he just kind of teaches you. He says, like, one of those things is that you're never too good to audition, and that's something that I would never have figured out. So he touches on how you know, every opportunity act should be fun, should be a a blessing, and how many actors don't take it from that role. I came out of his class with a completely different mindset shift because, you know, now I'm thinking like, you know, everything is a chance to prove yourself, and it's not, you know, nothing's beneath you. And so that's really the biggest thing I got from him. He's very humble, and he'll still take any audition he can get. On top of that, um, he touches on in this module, but also on some of his other modules. Uh, he really talks about how, you know, you shouldn't treat that one audition as a one and done thing. That person screening you has other jobs, other films and TV shows that he's going to work on one day. And he has gotten many jobs by treating this as a entire portfolio situation where, if it's not about getting that job at that meeting, it's about coming across as your best person so that if you don't get this job, that guy is going to remember you. And when he finds another movie where you would be a good fit, you come to mind. Um, so that's one thing. In this module, he touches on a lot of different things, from stereotypes to setting rules, prioritizing your manager, the importance of a manager versus an agent, and how they're not just people that take money. A manager is more network oriented. Um, the one thing I really loved about this module was his touching on stereotypes and getting pigeonholed. Um, it's interesting because they also transition to a scene from the Talking Head video to one of the students asking him about this and being pigeonholed, and he gave a very thoughtful, comprehensive answer. And you know, he addressed Asians and Hispanics and blacks in this process, which hit home for me. And he was basically saying, like, you know, if someone says, you know, asks you if you do kung fu and you're Asian, don't get offended. That's based on their sometimes small, limited worldview and how they've grown up seeing the world. They're just trying to, you know, fill that acting role how they pictured it. So rather than get offended and refuse to take the role, because that's not going to do you any good, because you're just not going to show up on TV. He highly encourages, and what he always does is he suggests that you can take that role, but you can do it in your own way and in a unique way of expression, where you don't come across maybe just cut and dry as the stereotype. Even if you're playing some kung fu actor, you can add all these different elements to your physical performance, to your personality, that can come across in a different way and make the director think, wow, I never thought of this guy like this. I kind of like that. And so even when you have that role and you get cast in it, you can introduce all these different elements to you. Maybe you know you're reluctant to be that in this situation, or you have a complicated past with your parents, or you also have a tech hacky athletic background, that still fit the role that they were asking for, but introduce something new. And I that just blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's a very interesting way of doing it, and of kind of also, you know, getting a paycheck and getting that role, and getting seen on screen, while also introducing to the world that you're not just this one type of character. So he touches on this in depth in the auditioning module as well, um, and also gives the kind of idea that it's okay to sometimes refuse a role if you really think you're being pigeonholed or typecast. But he also sees it as that, like, you're never going to play. If you choose to do so, you can always interpret a similar role in a different way, and it's never the same typecast thing if you choose not to make it so. In the auditioning module, I mean, that was great as well. Um, he touches about resumes and what you present to the person interviewing you, and he gives some advice that's really good there. He talks about how you shouldn't always just uh, if you haven't had an acting role in like several years, that can look very bad. Like it or not, it's not going to look good if your last role was several years ago. They just assume something bad's happened. So he recommends just giving the photo. They know you're there to act, so you don't have to present your portfolio, or you don't have to put that year that film was produced down if it's only going to hurt. So that's one of many things they covered in that module. It was 13 minutes. You can also play it at 1.5 times speed, which kind of gets it through quicker. And at least for me, it keeps me focused more, because if he's talking too slow, then I start to move away. I'll do a few more of these modules just to give you a sense of it, but it's just great. In this one, he talks about observing the world around you. And that was great for me because he emphasized the idea that there are many ways that you can improve as an actor outside of just going to an acting class. And that blew my mind. I didn't think that was possible, but he said, just observing, going to a park and observing people, how they physically represent themselves, how they act, how they interact with the world. Those can give you, certain insights into human behavior. I never thought of it that way. Bold choices, this one's about a lot of, this is a student session, and it really goes into detail about, putting huge, bold characterizations and quirks into your characters. This time they were reenacting a Kingsman scene, and they went over the top with the emotions. And he gave a bunch of feedback, and some of that feedback really had to do with just how it's much easier to uh, take back than to pull something out of a performance. So it's better to bring out a lot so that the director can cut. So I found that very interesting. Um, this one's on establishing your persona and your quirks with, you know, basically along the same lines, another student session with different people. On-set collaboration. He talks about, certain things that you should do and you shouldn't do to kind of succeed in the acting world, just in terms of logistics and stuff like that. Being on time was one he stressed. It was just how he was brought up, and being courteous to everyone was a huge part of it. Being respectful and friendly to everyone was part of what to do, and almost what not to do, because he basically said like the polar opposite. You shouldn't be being disrespectful to people, even the production assistant. That's not something you want to do. And it sounds like common sense to an extent, but it's common sense isn't always that common. And uh, one thing he mentioned is that the toes of the people you step on today may be connected to the ass of the butt you're kissing in a few years. Working with directors was very interesting because I think this was maybe one of the most career-ending lessons if you never took his class, because he defines like three different types of directors, which I won't go into. You have to take the class to figure that out. But essentially, there's a right and wrong way of interacting with directors, and even when the director isn't right, there's a right and wrong way of presenting that to them. And just going up to a certain type of director and being like, I would never see this character being portrayed that way. That's not how I see it, and I'm not going to do it that way. Well, that's the wrong way. That will end your acting job. They'll fire you and get someone else. So this module definitely covers some things that you should do, that you shouldn't do. It touches on external validation, um, plenty of good stuff. In fact, this is a course that, after you take it, it's worth to just keep it around so that you can reference it again before an audition, that you can have it handy. Let's say you have an important audition or acting job, or you're on set and you want to go back to a certain module because he says something in module 11 or 10 that was very good and relevant to your situation, but you can't remember exactly what it was. Well, if you have the lifetime membership or the yearly membership, you can jump back to it, and then right before, I mean, you can even pull it up on your phone. Like, it's that accessible. Like, the app is amazing too. It's just like the website. It's that accessible, and you can get that information very quickly. More student sessions. This one's on plumbing your emotional depths. They do scenes from The Negotiator, and it's a very tense scene. So, they touch on how you can get to that emotional stem, and you learn a lot about Sam's uh, Samuel's. I don't know here. Okay, I don't know whether to call him Sam or Samuel. I would just call him Samuel. Um, well, they call him Sam in this module. Okay, I'll call him Sam then. You learn a lot about his unique acting style. And he touches on how other actors do it, which actually varies wildly. He doesn't actually, with Sam himself, he doesn't read the script out loud until the day of shooting. Not many actors can do that, but he can visualize all the enunciations and intonalities of a certain line in his head. And so I found that interesting. And he only needs to say it out loud on the day of rehearsal. Um, in addition to that, he's not one to kind of check the screen after it's done uh, to see his performance. He prefers waiting until the movie. And he's also not one to stress or dwell on the fact if the director has no feedback for him. He sees that as a good thing, whereas he sees other actors kind of see it as a bad thing. Um, in terms of his style, like, I think it's interesting to kind of like get a sense of which style you gravitate more towards, and go for it. That's why I might take Natalie Portman's masterclass after this one. I've already started it. But it's different because he's not what I think you call it a method actor. He's not a method actor where he's in character all day long and he's like immersed into the mind of that character. He doesn't necessarily believe in that. He believes that this is make believe, and you should still have a kind of playful attitude to it. So, he can jump in and out. As soon as the director yells cut, he can just resume his normal behavior, and he has a more playful, lighthearted attitude with acting, which is very fascinating to me. I think he definitely has a spirit, a perspective of acting that it's more fun, and it's the funnest thing in the world to do that I really kind of admire, and I like his style. You might like Natalie Portman's better. I don't know. But I'm so excited for MasterClass. I mean, they're releasing new stuff every single month. I mean, I can only imagine how this company is going to progress 10 years from now. I mean, the amount of celebrities and high impact people with courses you can get access to is just going to be mind boggling. And I'm just so excited about it. In terms of pros and cons, one thing to note is that it's not like Netflix. It is to the extent that it's accessible in the same way, but it's not in the sense that with Netflix, it's pure entertainment. You can easily binge watch 30, 40 episodes of a show if you really wanted to on Netflix, maybe 10 or 20, at the least. With MasterClass, it's more intentional. You have to kind of take effort into it. And although this is a class I enjoy the most, even with this class, there's a certain amount of thoughtfulness that you have to put into it. There's action steps. There's, there's that workbook that you should probably fill out. There's, thought and action that have to be put into this course because in some way it's work. And so you can't really get all the benefit out of it as you would in a Netflix by just binging through these like just entertainment. In terms of other pros and cons, the singing courses, for example, they're not as in depth as, maybe some person like Justin Burke, who's a YouTuber but not a celebrity, who teaches singing. His courses are much more thorough and comprehensive and have 20, 30 modules. But you won't have a recognizable name or someone who's made it in the entertainment industry. So, there's pros and cons of both. You take Usher's class or Christina Aguilera's class on here, it's going to be great in the sense that this person made it. This person is excellent at what he does or she does, and there's going to be some valuable gems. But is it as comprehensive as, a real teaching course? No. Is it only going to be 6 to 10 lessons, potentially? Is it going to be as good as someone who is very skilled as a teacher versus a singer? Probably not. And, I may even be exaggerating here. I don't think Christina Aguilera's course is really that bad, to be honest. I think it's probably still pretty long, 10 lessons at a minimum. I'm actually going to check it out just to give you a sense. Yeah, so she actually has a lot. She has 23 modules. So there you go. I do know that her stuff is pretty kind of high level, warming up, range, diction, duets, studio mic, singing live, self-expression, and closing. So it's pretty high level. And then Bob Iger's, which is the one I loved but was on the short side. Oh, Howard Schultz, Starbucks CEO, his is also on the short side, very similar to Bob Iger's. So his is 13 lessons. That's it. 13 lessons, about 5 to 10 minutes each. It's good, but is it amazing? Is it a comprehensive course? No. But maybe that's exactly what you want. I know some people really can't stand taking long courses. They really only need they can only have the attention span for 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, Bob Iger's is also just 13 lessons, about 5 to 10, 15 minutes each. And one other benefit is it gives you this big check mark once you complete the course. It's not perfect though. So like with this one, I watched all of it until like the last 10 seconds, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait for this animation to end. I'm just going to click next. Because I did that, I don't get the check mark. Not a big deal. I know I finished this course. So there's that. I think it's so worth taking these courses. The amount of knowledge, the amount of experience. You even get a forum that you can talk to people about. It's not very popular, but there's still people, like-minded people that can really, help you out. That's also valuable. So once again, I want to give Samuel Jackson's course a 5 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of. A 5 out of 5, or maybe a 9 out of 10. I think it was really good. It could have been even better. Of course, everything can be even better. I wouldn't have minded some one-on-one coaching from him, but that's too much to ask. And so for the price point, by far 5 stars. So excellent. Here's the homepage. They're constantly adding new stuff. They have Ron Finley doing gardening, Stephen Curry teaching basketball. I'm going through Robin Roberts' course. Tony Hawks has a skateboarding course. Robin Roberts' course is also excellent. I mean, she teaches communication. And even if you don't want to be a sports reporter, I mean, she starts off the course by explaining how no matter what skill set you're trying to do, effective communication will help you immensely. And so I was hooked from then on. And it's an impressive course that I'll cover in another video. But thanks so much for watching. I really hope you check out MasterClass and try it out. I will leave a link below this video for anyone who wants to purchase MasterClass through my link. I think they may even offer a free trial. I'm not sure. But if you purchase through my link, I really would appreciate it. I will get a commission at no extra cost to you. But really, I think it's worth it. You could buy the All Access Pass or one class. Up to you. They're different price points.